ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनस्य भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुके। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 11, verse number 12. Sri Krishna is continuing to answer the question asked by Uddhava about the characteristics of a person who is bound and liberated. So Sri Krishna explained how this bondage and liberation are not real but caused by Maya, and then he gave some characteristics of both of them. So he described how Jiva is bound, Paramatma is liberated. One is limited, other is unlimited. One is dukhi, other is sukhi, and so on. Then he described somebody who is Jivan Mukta. So basically what we have studied in Bhagavad Gita also, that he remains balanced in different situations of life, avikriya, although he is also functioning in the society. Guna gunesu vartante iti matvana sajjate. Then he gave the example that in this way when he is virakta, he is performing activities, sleeping, walking, talking, seeing, touching, means utilizing all the senses. So next verse also continues on that theme. He says, Netatha badhyate vidvans tatta tatra adayan gunan prakrtisthopi asamsakto yathakham savitanala. So tatra means in these particular activities, when he is performing activities of walking, talking, sleeping, eating, so he is not bound. Why? Because he is Vidwan. He is learned not just theoretical, but he has experienced how he is not the body. And therefore he says Adayan Gunan. So Adayan means feeding, making someone else eat. So he sees himself separate from the body and senses, and then when senses are engaged in sense object, he says, okay, these are the sense only, and I am separate from that. So in that sense the word Adayan is used. And Prakriti sthopi asansakto. Although he is situated in the Prakriti, in the body and bodies in the material world, but he remains asamsakta. He does not become sakta or implicated, absorbed, attached in those things. So this is the basic characteristic of liberated person, and this is the basic difference between state of liberation and bondage. Anybody who is bound means that person is implicated in these activities. Prakriti kriyamanani guni karmani sarvasha ahankar vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. So such a person thinks himself or herself to be the doer, and then not only the doer but also the enjoyer or one who undergoes the experience. So that's what brings bondage. That is the root cause. So yatadeva kutastatraha prakrtisthopi iti sardhena. How is that he remains detached from all this, he remains freedom? That is being described in 1.5 verses. That although he is situated in the Prakriti, but he is not attached. And then there is an example he gives, Yathakham sarvatra sthitam api na sajjati. So he said just like the Akash Tattva is everywhere. So space is everywhere, Akasha or ether, but it does not become touched by anything. It does not stick to anything. So it remains free. So like that he also remains free. Yatha savita sarvatra kirana jalam prasarenapi. Another example is of the sun. The sun is spreading its light everywhere, but it is not attached to anything. So nothing touches the sun. And yathacha anila sarvatra sancharanapi. And the third example is of the air. Air also moves around, but does not become attached to anything. Vaisaradhye kshaya sangasitya chinna sansayah pratibuddhe vaisvapnat nanatvad vinivartate. So he says that he has free from any doubt, chinna samsaya. So there is no doubt. Why? Because he says he has asanga shitya vairagya vaisaradhya ikshaya. So he has a pure vision to see things, and this vision is sharpened by vairagya or detachment. So there is complete detachment, and this is because of having a higher experience. So paradrishtva nivartate. So vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasvarjam rasopyasya paradrishtva nivartate. So when he has the higher experience or experience of transcendence of divinity or Bhagavan, then he becomes completely detached, because there is no need for such a person to be attached to anything. Why do we attach ourselves to material things? Because we want happiness, and happiness comes by attachment. Suffering also comes, but happiness. So all the happiness which you experience in your life is only because of attachment, material happiness. If you are not attached to something, it doesn't give you happiness. Whether it is place or person or food or anything. So this person, because he is getting happiness from somewhere else, anasaktasya vishayan, so then he is not looking for the lower happiness. When you have something superior, why should you run after the inferior thing? There is no need. Even if somebody gives it to you, you don't want. So therefore this vairagya comes naturally. And then this is what gives him the sharp vision, or makes him discern the reality from mithya. So this is being described here. So then he says, Pratibuddhaiva swapnat. So he is like a person who has awakened from the dream. When you are in the dream, then you may be enjoying some nice scenery, nice company with somebody. But when you wake up, then it's gone. So you are not anymore in that mood. So similarly, this person also is awakened. That's why it's called Buddha. So that's why it says Pratibuddhaiva. So this is what awakening means. So then nanatvad vinivartate. Then such a person becomes free from the variety. What is the variety? Variety is like related to our body. I'm male, I'm female, I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm beautiful, I'm young, I'm old. All these varieties. So he does not associate with these things anymore. So that is symptom of a liberated person. So vidvatvam eva spashtayati. No, yes. Asangena vairagyena shitya tikshnaya chinna sanshaya. So because of this vairagya or detachment, because of not having any attachment to anything, then his intellect becomes very sharp, and then there are no more doubts, chinna sansaya. Asambhavna adiyo yasya se. Doubts whether it is really possible like this or not, because once you experience something, then where is the doubt about it? You doubt about something which you have not experienced, then you don't know whether it will be like this or it will be in some other way. So he says that becomes absolutely free from doubts. Nanatvat nana deha prapanchat. So then there is freedom from various body is also taking birth, one birth, another birth. Or even in one body we undergo a lot of changes. Child, grown up, middle age, old age, sick person, various types of. So he does not associate with any of these things because he is not dreaming anymore. Yasya surveta sankalpaha pranendriya manodhyam vrittaya sa vinurmukto dehastopi tadgunai. So this person who has become free from the sankalpa. So sankalpa means resolve to enjoy, resolve to do something. I want to achieve this, I want to have this experience, I want to possess something, I want to go somewhere, to some physically or mentally, you want to go to some other position, higher up, promotion, that is also going. So all these sankalpas, they are related to our prana, indriya, manodhya. They are related with intelligence, mind, senses, life here. So these are all gone, vita. Vita means exhausted, finished. Beet gaya bolte na Hindi mein. That vita is coming from vita in Sanskrit. Means they are past, they are not in present anymore. So vrittaya, the various vrittis, sankalpas, we have various states of minds, and we make different resolves. So they are all removed. So then he is called vinurmukta. So visheshena nitram mukta iti vinurmukta. He is absolutely free. Although he is situated in the body. So dehastopi tadgunai vinurmukta. So all these sense objects, they do not trouble this person at all. Purushottam Prabhu.
I have difficulty getting this sandhi break or something. Vaisaradhya kshaya is Vaisaradhi, and then what is that word? Ekshaya or?
Iksha. Like you have pariksha.
Vaisaradhi and
Ikshaya.
Yeah, but then Vaisaradhi is also E, so that wouldn't that be Dirgha E? I mean Vaisaradhi kshaya instead of Vaisaradhya kshaya?
Vaisaradhya. Because Vaisaradhya Iksha. Not Vaisaradhi, but Vaisaradhya.
So what is Vaisaradhya means then? Is it as Vaisaradhi and then Bahuvachan?
No, feminine, gender, akaranta. Meaning is same as Vaisaradhi.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yaduktam katham vihareda iti tatra. So it was asked by Uddhava, how does he vihar, means how does he function, pleasant way, enjoy. So that is being described, that he does not have any sankalpa for any material enjoyment. As Krishna says, yukta har viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapna bodhasya yoga bhavati dukha. So there he is talking about yukta. Yukta means as much is necessary, that much body functions, but it does not indulge more than what is necessary. So yasyeti tadgunair deha dharmai. So he is free, he is vinurmukta, he is free from the dharmas of the body. Bodily changes are happening. Asti, jayate, vardate, viparinamte, apakshiyate. So nashyate, all these changes happen in the body. 6 types. Or he says, shoka mohadibhir other changes happen in the body. Grief comes. If you lose something which you thought was yours, then you grieve over it. Or you misunderstand moha. Or when you become angry, that is also a type of moha. When you are angry, you think in a very moha way. So your mind becomes mudha. Cannot see things. So such a person is free from such aberrations of the mind. Sankalp sunyabhi pranadi vritti bhir viharati iti bhava. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that he has vrittis. Because if he is seeing, if he is talking, if he is walking, if he is eating, then vrittis are formed. But these vrittis are sankalpa sunya. He does not have the sankalpa behind them. Means sankalpa you do that you want to get something, where you perform activities with a goal to get some result for your enjoyment. So he does not have any sankalpa like that. So therefore he remains free. Then he says, Yasyatma himshate himsrair yena kinchid yadrichaya archate va kochit tatra nevyati kriyate buddha. So these slokas are not only describing the characteristic of a liberated person, they are also teaching to a sadhaka how one should practice like that. So, siddhasya lakshanam yattat tat sadhakasya sadhanam. So what are the characteristics of a perfected being? Those characteristics are the sadhan for the sadhaka. Means he has to practice those things. So therefore these slokas have to be seen in both ways. They are answering Uddhava's question, but they are also teaching us how one should practice. So he says, Yasya Atma Himsate Hinsle. So somebody is troubled, violence is done to someone, some person, or some person here means the liberated person. Liberated people also face problems in the society. Jesus Christ was put on the cross. So he says this is violent people doing violence. Hinsra means violent people, and himsa is violence. So himsate hinsrai. And yadrichya archateva, and sometimes by good fortune they are also honored by people. So he says he is not changed by that. Na vyatikriyate. There is no vyatikriya, means there is no reaction. It's not that when the person is worshipped then he is very elated, enjoying it, taking photo, putting on the Instagram, look how my worship is being done. And he does not grieve if he is troubled. So like we saw in the case of Jad Bharat. So he was also troubled even by his own brothers, but he was happy. So that is how he says, Na vyatikriyate buddha. Buddha means intelligent person, realized person, does not become disturbed by this situation. So therefore he says, Yaduktam kairva gyayeta lakshanairiti. So what was asked by Uddhava, that by what symptoms can we know a person is mukta or not? So that is being described in this. Tatra sarva sugnyani mukta lakshanani yasya iti tribhi. So in 3 verses, Sri Krishna is explaining the characteristics of liberated person in a way which can be understood easily, not much difficulty in understanding. So hinsrai durjanai, hinsra, cruel person, means wicked people. There are some people who do welfare to others. They devote their life to do good to others. Then there are some people who don't do good to others, but they also don't trouble others. Then there are people who trouble others for their own happiness. They exploit others. Then there are some people who just trouble. They may not derive any pleasure from it, but they just trouble others. So he says these are drujanas. So yasya atma, the word atma means deha or body, hinshate, upanat praharadini. So some violence is done, like he may beat him, somebody beats him up with shoes, upanat, or stick, or slaps. So gives trouble by beating. और यदृच्छया हेतुना विनैव येन केनापि श्रक्चंदनादि किंचिदर्च्यते, or somehow for no reason of or no act of him being done, he is honored. 2 things are mentioned here, shrak and chandan, garland, sandalwood, because vanita is not needed here. That is in the heaven. So he is given nice garland and sandalwood. So he is happy. So he says these things, na tatra na vyatikriyate. He remains unchanged. Sukhe dukhe samay kritva. Labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujasva. Nevam papam avapsase. So remaining equanimous, balanced, undisturbed. So that is the symptom. That is what Krishna has also described in Gita repeatedly. That prajahati yada kaman sarvan partham manogatan atmanyev atmanatashta sthit pragya stadachyate. So that sthit pragya symptoms which he gives there also mentioned here. So nati vikriyate drujnan prati na krudhyati sujanan prati na tushyati chaityartha. So he says that he does not become angry at wicked people who are troubling. He also doesn't become satisfied those who are worshipping him. He remains balanced. Yaduktam Yagyavalkena, this is stated by Yagyavalkya. Yakantakair vitudati chandanaischa vilimpati akruddho paritushtasya samastasya chatasya cha. So he says, whether somebody pierces him with thorns or applies sandalwood paste to him, he neither becomes angry at the first one nor is very satisfied with the second one, but he remains equanimous, unchanged. So this person is called Mukta Purusha. Nastuvita na nindeta kurvataha sadhva sadhuva vadato gunadosabhyam varjitaha samdring muni. So somebody is doing good to this person, Mukta Purusha, or somebody is troubling him, somebody is praising him, or somebody is finding fault in him. So he says that he neither praises nor criticizes. He does not praise the person who is doing good to him. He does not criticize the person who is troubling him. So he remains samdrik. So pandita samdarshina sunichaya sapakecha. So that is what his personality is, that he remains samdrik. So this is the Muni, the sage. So sadhu asadhu karvato vadato vajanan nastuvite nachindit. So whether somebody is doing good to him or speaking good about him, or somebody is troubling him, or somebody is speaking bad about him, so he remains indifferent to everything. So therefore he is called Muni. Muni means Manansila, one who is thoughtful, which also means he remains Mauna. The word Mauna comes from Muni. Means he is absorbed in his thoughts inwardly, so he doesn't speak. So that means he is not reacting, that's the meaning here. So then he continues to speak. न कुर्यात् न वदेत् किंचित् न ध्यायेत् साधु साधु वा आत्मारामो निवृत्त्या vicharet jadvan muni. So again he is calling this person as Muni and also Atmaram. So the sage who is relishing within himself, Yavanta Arama. So sadhu asadhu va na kuryat kinchit na vadet. So he is now saying that he also does not engage himself in any good or bad acts. So these things of course do not apply to devotees because they do seva to Bhagavan, but this is more like sannyasi, Gyan Marg, because it is symptom of Mukta Purusha only, not Bhakta Purusha. About Bhakta Krishna will speak later on in this chapter also. But this is just a person who is not bound by anything. So he also does not engage in any action, just free, no big projects, nothing, not good, not bad. Also doesn't speak, na kuryat na vadet. He is also not lecturing around. Therefore he is Muni, he is Moni. And he says in Atmarama, Muni should wander like a crazy person, Jadavat, like inert, like person who does not know anything, like Bharat in the Jad Bharat. He became known as Jad Bharat only. So here the same word is used, Jadamuni, Jadavat. Jada means inert, means like as if the person doesn't have the intelligence to think anything. So people think this guy is crazy. But he is absorbed within, that's why he is called here as Atmarama. Because if somebody remains absorbed in inner world, inner thoughts, to people outside he will look like foolish because he is not doing anything, he is not speaking. So they think he is retarded, doesn't have brain to think. So he also looks like that. Sukadeva Goswami was like that. When he came to Ganga, where Parikshit Maharaj was sitting, then he was being followed by many children and ladies who thought he is crazy because he was also not dressed properly. And he looked very vikshipta, like a estranged person, because he was completely absorbed in his inner thoughts. So he looks very unusual to people. So when there is not much to see, in the olden days there were not too many things to see. There was no computer, no phone, no iPad, nothing like this. So you only see nature, and there was not too much traveling going on, there were no equipments, machine, nothing. So then these things, somebody comes like this, it looks some spectacle, So people run, see what is this guy doing. So that was happening to him. So he says, Vicharet Jadavat Muni, that he wanders like a retarded person. Aniya vritya anena svabhavene mukta lakshanam bhinnam buddha lakshanam cha geyam. So he says that one person should wander with this type of vritti. Aniya vritya means having this type of nature, this is his nature. So he says this is describing what is the character of a liberated person. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti says that Bhinnam Baddha Lakshanam Sagayam. One who is not like that, then you know that this person is bound. So he says from this verse you can understand both. Although it is describing the characteristic of a liberated person, but you also understand the behavior of bound person. Now he says something more. Somebody who is like in between. In between means he is not completely bound, he is not liberated, he is hanging. So he says, Shabda Brahmani Nishnato Na Nishnayat Pareyadi Sramastasya Sramafalo Hi Adhunum Iva Rakshata. He says there are people who are Nishnat in Shabda Brahma, but not in Para. Nishnayat, Na Nishnayat Pareyadi. So earlier we read Shabdai Parecha Nishnat. Then the quality of Guru was described. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyete Jigyasu Shreyottamam Shabdai Parecha Nishnatam Brahmanyup Samashram. So there it was said that he is expert both in Shabda Brahma and Para Brahma. So Shabda Brahma means Shastric knowledge, means knowledge of the Shastra. So that is called Shabda Brahmani Nishnata. And but Na Nishnayat Pare means does not have the experience and is also not doing anything for the experience. Because some people they just study and then they want to preach to others without making effort to have experience of what they have studied. So therefore he says Na Nishnayat Pareyadi. So he says Srama Tasya Srama Phala. So he says studying Shastra, a lot of Shrama is required, a lot of hard work. Studying is not an easy thing. So he says what is the outcome of his Srama is a Srama Phala. It's just the outcome of labor is labor only. Nothing good comes out. He gives one example, he adhenum iva rakshataha. So it is like a person who is keeping a cow who does not give milk and he is keeping cow for milk. So he is feeding the cow, he is taking care but no milk. So dhenu means cow and dhenu means one who gives milk. Go is also cow, go is normal dhenu, milk cow is called dhenu. So he says adhenu. So he is not ago, but adhenu means, adhenu here does not mean not dhenu. I is also giving the opposite meaning for absence, but here means like dhenu. Means she looks like she is giving milk, but she doesn't give. She is a cow. Adhenu is also dhenu, but somewhat dhenu. So he says like that he is only working hard to maintain this cow, but it's not getting anything. So that is the situation. So kincha bhagavati Satchidanandamaya akaratva bhavanaya bhaktim kurvita tada eva ayam ukta lakshno mukta jiva siddhet anyatha tu pateditya. So now this is important thing which commentator is saying. He said this earlier also. This is to be understood. That if simply one is following the path of Gyan Marg, then one is not going to attain liberation if bhakti is not involved in that. Neskarmyam pyachut bhava lakshanam na shobhate jnanam alam niranjanam kuta punay shashvada bhadramishvare na charpitam. So even if one is engaged in neskarmya means Gyan Marg, but without devotion, achyut bhava varjitam, devoid of bhakti. Bhava means bhakti to achyuta. Na shobhate alam niranjanam. It is not looking good. So what to speak of karma. So that's why he says that if one is performing these activities like this, one will not attain ultimate liberation, mukta jiva siddhed nat anyatha patet. Then only mukta lakshano mukta jiva siddhet. These are the characteristics of the mukta jiva, but mukta jiva will attain perfection only if he performs bhakti. So Satchidanandamaya akaratva bhavanaya bhaktim kurvita. Now bhakti also two types. Advaitavadis also do bhakti, but they think Bhagavan is not Satchidanandamaya. They don't think that Krishna has a transcendental body. So therefore a very interesting point he makes here. Satchidanandamaya akaratva bhavanaya bhaktim kurvita. That one should do bhakti knowing Krishna to be transcendental. Then only he says you will become free. Otherwise, what will happen? You will fall down. Shreya sritim bhakti mudasyate vibho klishyanti kevala bodha labdhe. So if you give up bhakti and you engage in keval bodha labdhe, means in the activities of attaining Brahma Sakshatkar, keval bodha. So then what happens? Tesam asau kleshala eva shishyate yatha sthula tushav ghatinam. Then you will only get klesha. Just like here he says that sramastasya sramaphalo yadhenumeva rakshata. That only labor means you work so hard and the goal is not achieved. So that's why it is important to understand this. And this is very important teaching of Bhāgavatam, if understood properly, because people read Bhāgavatam, they don't understand this. You think you can attain bhakti, you can attain mukti by doing karma without bhakti, jnana without bhakti. Sankhya also can give you mukti. So here our Goswamis, based on Bhāgavatam, don't accept this, as you can see here very clearly. So that's why he add this. So Jiva Goswami also makes a similar comment. Shabde Veda Shastre Brahmani Tat Pratipadya Nirvisheshe Brahmani cha Nipshade. So he says that Shabda Brahmani Nishnat. So he is taking Shabda Brahmani as two words. Sabda he is taking as Veda and Brahman as Brahman. So means he has studied Veda and he understands Nirvishesh Brahman. So Nishnata means Vishishta Gyan Kushala. That he has expert knowledge of this. Vishisht Anubhav Kuslascha. So he has Vishisht Gyan Kushala and Vishisht Anubhav Kuslascha. Very important commentary he writes here. He says he has knowledge and he has also experience of Brahman. But he will also not become liberated without bhakti. That's what he wants to say. He's really troublesome for the Gyan Margis. So he gives a very special meaning to the word Pare. Pare is not just Par Brahman, but Pare is Bhagwan here, because he has taken the meaning of Shabda Brahmani Nishnata as Shabda and Brahman. So Kintu Pare Tabhyam Sakashadapi Paramashretena Sreshthe. So beyond these two, that's why he uses the word Tabhyam, Veda and Brahman. Beyond this is Bhagwan. And if he is not Nishnat in that, means he is not performing devotion of Bhagwan, who is the supreme shelter and who is the breast. Na Nishnayat Bhakti Kaushalaha Yavan na Bhavet. Nishnat, the word Nishnat is used for expertise. When you say that this person is Nishnat in this field, means he is expert in that. So he says, therefore, na nishnayat pare yadi means that he is not expert in bhakti. Nishnat sabdasya kushlarthatvat. He says the word nishnat means kushal. Bhagavati Satchidanandakaratva bhavnaya bhaktireva atra kushalta. So what is the expertise here? Expertise here is to do bhakti to Bhagwan, knowing well that his body is Satchidananda. Not knowing that his body is Vishuddha Sattva, which means material Sattva. This is how the Advaita Vedantis think. That they accept Krishna, they also do puja, but they think that Krishna is Vishuddha Sattva. But their Vishuddha Sattva is not what we think of Vishuddha Sattva. Our Vishuddha Sattva is transcendental, their Vishuddha Sattva is material. Because Vishuddha Sattva is there. So, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. So the Vishuddha Sattva word is used in Bhāgavatam for Vasudeva, which is the Adhisthan for Krishna. Krishna manifests in Vasudeva, which is Vishuddha Sattva. So he is not material, then he cannot manifest in material Sattva. Therefore this Vishuddha Sattva is not the material Sattva. This is free from Maya. Sattva Rajas Tayos Misram na Chakal Vikram na Yatra Maya Kimta Parehara. So this is not there. So therefore expertise here is of bhakti. Yam bina tasya srama ek phalo vyartha. So therefore his hard work will result only in hard work, which means futile. Natu purushartha prapaka. It will not lead him to the purushartha, means attaining the ultimate perfection. Dugdha kamasya adhenum bandhyam chir prushutam va rakshato. So it's just like a person who is desirous to have milk and he has a cow, But the cow is barren, means she is not going to deliver the baby, and without delivering the baby there is no milk. Or chirprasutam, she gave birth, but this was long back. Cow gives milk for about a year maximum, then after that she dries up because the calf becomes big. So to protect this, rakshato yathasramaha, just as this person is engaged in a lot of hard work taking care of this cow, but will not get milk like that. This person works very hard, and all the expert in Brahman, Anubhava Brahman, it's like actually the cow is there, but the milk is not coming. So even Brahman is there, but still not mukti. Atra Shabda Brahmani Vede Nishnate api Pare Brahmani Nirvishesha iti Vyakhayam Ek Des Anvaya Uttara Slok Artha Tatparya Virodhasya Syat. So now is this explanation which he has given, one may say, why are you giving this type of explanation? Why not just give the normal explanation, which is that you have Sabda Brahmani and then you don't have the experience of Brahman, Nirvishesh Brahman. So for that he says that has two problems, that kind of explanation. This is how Sridhar Swami has explained it. He says, Shabda Brahmani Nishnato Arthatah Parangato api. Means he knows the word meaning of Shabda Brahma, which is Veda. Pare Brahmani na Nishnayat. Dhyanadi abhiyogam na kuryat tasya shastra srama sramek phalo na tu purusharth paryavasai. This is the meaning he gives, means he has studied the Vedas but not performing any meditation, etc., to have the realization of the Brahman. So he says that meaning is not very befitting. So two reasons he gives for that. Ek desh Vyakhayam Ek desh Anvaya Uttara Slokarth Tatparya. So one is that it does not match with what Krishna says in the next two slokas, where he talks about his bhakti very clearly. So that does not match if you don't give the meaning the way he has given the meaning. And then he says it is Ek Desh Anvaya. Ek Desh Anvaya. Sabda Brahmani Nishnato na Nishnayat Parayadi. Samastasya Sramfala. Adhainumi Vrakshata. Says that you are only giving anvaya of one part of the sloka. How is that? Parayadina nishnayat tasya srama sramfala. He adhainumi. I don't know how I say Ekades Anvaya. So then the next sloka Krishna speaks more strongly. He says, Gam dugdha doham asatim cha bharyam deham paradhinam asat prajam cha vittam tvatirthe kritam anga vacham hina maya rakshati dukkha dukkhi. So now he clearly speaks about bhakti here. He says, Gam dugdha doham. So he is explaining things which are not giving the result. If you have a cow, same thing, does not have the milk. Asatim cha bharya, you have a wife who is not chaste. And deham paradhinam, and you have a body which is under other person's control, means you are bonded laborer, something like that. Asat prajam chai, you have children who are not obedient to you, they don't listen to you. And vittam tu atirthi kritamanga, you have wealth, but you don't give it to qualified people and charity, just for yourself. So he says, anga vacham hina maya rakshati dukkha dukkhi. And you have speech which is not related to me, means your talk is not about Bhagavan. So he says, these people who are engaged in all these things, they are dukkha dukkhi. Rakshati dukkha dukkhi. You may be protecting this cow, and you may have children, and you may have wealth and your own speech, but this will only result in suffering, nothing more than that. So drishya sravyadin vishyan mat sambandhan eva svikuriyat natu mat sambandha sunyan etadeva mai nishnatattvam iti vaktum sarvendriya vyapar उपलक्षणम एकम वागिंद्रिय व्यापारम एव लक्ष्यीकृत्य सबहुतर दृष्टान्तमः. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that all the sense objects, what you see or what you hear about, you should accept them only in relationship to me. And if you accept them without my relationship, then you are not expert. So this is the expertise which is spoken here, means all your senses, they should engage in sense objects which are related to Bhagavan Krishna, then you are expert, otherwise you are not expert. That is the meaning. And to give this understanding, he takes only one of the sense, and that is the sense of speech. So vacham maya hinam rakshati dukkha dukkhi. That if your speech, if your tongue, you do not engage it in speaking about Krishna Katha or chanting his name, then it is like Sonakarasi says, Darduruki eva suta. Such a tongue is like the tongue of a frog, which makes sound, which attracts the snake to come and eat him up. So Jiva Darduruki eva. So here also he says that it is. And to give how it is futile, he gives many examples. Because we may think, what is wrong? I speak so many things, I don't get any problem. So then he says, listen to the examples. So Gam, first is the cow. Duhyata iti doha paya. So doha dugdha doha. So nautrat dohyo asti adesya. So cow from which the milk has been taken away doesn't give any more milk. So you protect that. Same example which you gave in the previous one. Tam kasmachin mulya pradanena vinayeva praptam rakshati pati. So you get such a cow, although you do not even pay for it, somebody gave it to you, but it doesn't milk. So now you go on feeding her. गौरिय मद्दत्त बहुतर घास आदि चारणी दुग्धवती पुनः प्रसूति मति च भविष्यति इति बुद्धिया दुग्ध लोभी. So you are thinking that this cow, I will feed him very nicely, lot of grass, food, etc. Then she will become pregnant, give birth to a calf, then I will get milk. So greedy for milk, a person protects a cow like this. But he is only going to get dukkha. Dukkha dukkhi ahik dukkhavan ayatyam tasya. So he will get trouble now feeding the cow, and later on this cow is not going to give milk. Because this cow is gone beyond the stage of giving milk. Gaur dugdha labh alabh darshnad upekshanu janya papat paratrikam ched dukkha. And when she will not give milk, you are going to neglect the cow, and it will become a sin because you are being neglectful to the cow. So you are going through the trouble here, and then next life also You'll suffer for being neglectful to the cow. That is the meaning. Evam asti bharyam sati jana krita dharmopadesadi apdeshadi em ayatyam sati bhavishyati. So you have a wife who is unchaste, and then you are giving him lecture every day that you should be chaste, you should be chaste, you should not run around with other men like this, and hoping that she is going to turn into a chaste wife. She doesn't. So you are having trouble now and trouble in future. So Bhavishyati buddhya santan kam lobhi. You are desiring you will get a nice children from this wife, but it won't happen. So asat prajam ityado api vyakhyam. He says similarly, you have children who are not obedient, you are also taking care of them and thinking one day they are going to become nice kids. They don't become. So this is trouble. Deham paradhinam pratikshanam dukkhetum. Similarly, if your body is not under your control or you are working for somebody, paradhin sapnehu sukh nahi. Tulsidas Maharaj also says, if you are under someone else's control, you cannot have happiness even in your dream. Forget about when you are awake. Asat prajam drishta drisht fal sunyam putram agate patre. So, he is bringing asat praja again. So, drishta fal sunyam putram. So, you get son who does not give you happiness now or in future. He will not do the sraddha also for you because he is not obedient. Then what about wealth? So about wealth he says, agate patre adattam durvittam duskirti duritpadakam angahe dukhantram dukkham eva yasase. So you have wealth, even if you have earned it properly, but if you give it to a wrong person or you don't give it to the right patra, so both ways it will give you trouble. So this is how one has to understand that sloka, the previous one. Why Vishwanath Chakravarti explained it. That one has profound devotion. Okay, we stop here. Any question? Alright. Purushottam Prabhu.
Yeah, here it mentions this Nirakar Brahma and Sakar Brahma, Satchidanandmaya. So those who are Advaitavadi, though they do bhakti, but their main goal is they see as a Nirakar. So they get mostly Brahma side with it, or without bhakti they will not even get that.
No, they do bhakti, but they think of Krishna as having a material body. There is sloka.
And then they get the Brahma side.
In Panchadasi, Maya Dheno Do Putra, what is that? Ishwar Jiva Evacha. Says that the Maya, which is like a cow, has two calves, Jiva and Ishvara. So yathecham pivatam dvaitam tattvam tu advaitam evahi. So he says you can have dvaita, that there is Jiva and Aishwarya, but tattva is advaita because both are coming from Maya. So Jiva is also under the influence of Maya. That is the avidya part of Maya. Maya has two parts, avidya part and vidya part, which we also read here.
Yes.
Krishna also said this. So when Brahman has the upadhi of avidya, that is called Jiva. When Brahman has the upadhi of vidya, that is called Ishvara. So Krishna is Brahman, but with the upadhi of vidya. That's why he has knowledge. So this is their way. That's why he used the word Satchidanandamaya Akaratva Bhavanaya Bhaktim Karote.
So that Vidya Bhagavan is also Satchidanandamaya. They accept or they do not accept that Satchidanandamaya?
No, Vidya is part of Maya. Where is the Satchidananda?
Okay.
Satchidananda for them is only Brahman. There is nothing superior to Brahman. Mahini.
So these Advaitavadis who don't accept Krishna to have a Satchitananda form, do they get the Prakriti Laya?
God only knows. Bhāgavatam says Patanti Yana. Anadriti Yusmadhen. Yanyarvindaksha. That sloka is by Yanyarvindaksha Vimukta Manina. So they think they are liberated.
So because you also explained that this Prakriti Laya is not eternal, so this means they come back again.
Not necessary that they get Prakriti Laya. Who knows where they go? It's not as easy as we think. If they commit offense, there is no Prakriti Laya, which is good chance because they make fun of the Vaishnavas. Okay.
Babaji, Babaji, when we do Shuddha Bhakti, so vrittis will be formed in the mind. So are also they are also Shuddha Sattva, or they are, I mean, the transcendental Shuddha Sattva or material Shuddha Sattva? Because Advaitis, they say they are of material Shuddha Sattva because mind is material. When you do Bhakti, so definitely it must take material vritti only, but not aprakrita. So
Rupa Goswami says the Satasri Krishna Namadina Bhaved Grahim Indriye Sevanunmukho hi Jivado Swayameva Spuratyada. That comes Swayam, so then it is Satchidananda.
but through mind only we are getting the knowledge. So but
Avirbhuya manovrittau vrajanti tat swaruptam. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that manifests in the vritti of the mind and attains the same swarupa as of the vritti.
Manas can take spiritual.
Swayam bhasmanapi pratita parprakasyavata. Although it is a self-effulgent, but it appears as if it is illuminated.
Means Manas can take, that is the point.
Yeah. That's what it's saying. Okay.